Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to Hats Off to Creativity Workshop. I'm on a little early. We're not going to get started until everybody gets on or until at 6 o'clock. But I want to remind you that I'm on Central Standard Time. I had someone panic a minute ago. Thought they had missed it, but they're on Eastern Time. So that is what your difference was. I'm Central Standard Time. I'm North Texas. So I just wanted to kind of go ahead and get on here and make sure everything's working. Let me see if I can get us pulled up on the iPad. I've got an iPad, I've got my laptop, and I've got my phone going. I started to put, you know that I got the canvas lamp. I got it in and it's partially out of the box. I thought about using that. Hi, Sybil. Hello, hello. I thought about using that tonight and getting it all hooked up, but I thought, no, if something goes wrong, I'm not going to know what to do with it. So I'm just going to go like I normally do. And I know how to use all of it as long as it's working right. But so I'm trying to get us pulled up over here on my iPad so I can see comments. And get all of those logistics worked out before everybody gets on. It's been a beautiful day here in North Texas, but we had a lot of storms last night. All right, it's not recognizing me. Let me. There we go. Search Facebook. Why? Looks like my iPad is not. So we'll do it this way. Looks like my keyboard is not working and it might have come unplugged. So I'll try to do it touch. Okay, there comes there's Leanne and Debbie and Francis, Dina. Okay, there's the live. Now, I'm not sure how to turn the sound off without the keypad. Let's see. Always something goes wrong. But I think I've got it down pretty low. I think that's what it is. I think my iPad has... Okay, so bear with me here. We may have to listen to two of me. Can you handle two of me? I don't use this very often at all, except when I'm doing lives. And the storm knocked everything out last night. We had to reboot everything. So it could be that. I'm going to turn it off and back on and see if maybe that will help. So I'm glad I did get on here a little early. Because it is being a stinker. Okay, Facebook. it did this the other day. It just kept kicking me out of Facebook until I finally got it to connect after trying 3 or 4 times. Okay, search. But if all else fails, then I can just kind of try to watch on my phone. Okay. Alrighty, it's 6 o'clock, so we're trying to get there. Always technical stuff. Lessons, 2,000 followers. Okay, it keeps kicking me out. It may be that I need to reboot the whole thing. And Mr. Pam's out mowing the yard. Okay, we're not going to worry about it. All right. Okay, and there's Angela and Terry and Miss Sherry and Lisa. Okay, I've got the Texas allergy, so y'all are going to have to just bear with me on that. And if Mr. Pam comes in, I will see if he can get this thing going. Let me see if I can shut it down and bring it back up completely. And I don't think it's going to let me do that. This poor thing is so old. And I've got a new iPad, but I don't bring it in here because I don't want to get paint on it. Hi, Francis. Yes, there are lots of new friends on here. But we will get this resolved before tomorrow night. Okay, it did move me up to the top, but it's still kicking me out. Okay, so I'm not going to waste time on that. Okay, so does everybody have everything ready? Hi, Diana. Hi, Patty. Your hat's the first thing we're going to work with. You should have the hat, your chalk, your pins, everything else that was in the kit. We won't use all of it tonight, every color tonight probably, but we're going to go till probably 8 o'clock tonight, or if I find a better stopping place, it might not go completely till 8. Hi, Janet. Hello. I love that he's called Mr. Pam. Yes, one of my paint party friends started him with that name, and it just stuck to him like glue, and that's what everybody calls him. I need to get him a name tag and a shirt or an apron or something that says Mr. Pam on it, but that stuck with him about 3 years ago, I guess, and that's pretty much. In fact, I had somebody a couple of months ago say, I've never heard your husband's real name. What is his real name? I said, well, he does have a real name. It is David. His real name is Mr. David. But anyway, so yes, it is Mr. Pam. So I will have to kind of up and down to look at comments if I can, but if we don't go till 8 o'clock, that's fine. If we go till 8 o'clock, then we'll stop at 8 o'clock. Hi, Linda. Hi, Karen. And we will go, we'll start over tomorrow, same time, 6 o'clock, and we'll go till no later than 8, and then we'll see about Saturday. If we should finish up and before Saturday, then we will just do some practice things on Saturday. But I want you to have time. I want to take this slow and I want to do it step by step. Please don't feel rushed. You can go back and watch the video for 30 days. It'll be available. This is on my, as you see, the Young at Heart Creations page. So anybody can see us and see this tutorial, this workshop, but only you that paid have your kits. You got everything in your kit, and your name has been put on the spin the wheel of names for the door prize on Saturday. And that will be for a free set of the new Dippin' Dotties that will come out, the new set that will come out in June. So I haven't even revealed what they are yet. We'll do that probably sometime in May. But who's ever named the wheel stops on, you will get a free set of that coming out. So we'll do that Saturday. And then in the Penny's Lane workshop that's next month, I'll have another drawing and somebody else will win a set on there. Okay, so it looks like we've got several coming on. There's 19 on here right now, so great, great, great. All right, so on your hats that you got, they probably have a plastic, that hard plastic sizer that's in there. Just take that out, throw it away. You're not going to need that for anything. And if you can see, your bill is kind of flat. It doesn't have any really shape to it. Some of them didn't because they've been shipped, and that's the way they were shipped to me. And I had 200 hats in the box that they shipped to me, and they were just all scrunched up. But it's cardboard in here. So, and that's another thing. Be sure, do not, for any reason, get your hat wet. It is not washable as far as putting it in a washing machine or dishwasher like somebody did. Hi, Linda. Hello, hello. So these are not meant to be wet because this is cardboard. If you put it in water, or if you take a spray bottle, or you get it really wet, I mean just real wet with a cloth, it is going to come apart. It's not going to keep its shape, and you're just going to have to throw it in the trash. I had one lady wash it in the washing machine. I think her husband or daughter did. They didn't know anything about it, and it just came out in a wad. So do not wash these hats. If you do need to wash it for some reason, if you get ice cream or you're at a baseball game and a bird poops on you, you know, you never know what's going to happen. Just take a damp cloth and wipe it off, or let it dry and take a brush and brush it off. But you can use a damp cloth on it. That's not going to hurt it. Just don't get it wet so that it wets the cardboard. And just take your hands and just shape it. You don't want to break it, but just shape it with your hands round. And there you go. Now you've got it shaped. Okay? So put it on there and just shape it. And you may have to reshape it again, but that's all right. So that's the first thing I do, is I take that plastic out and then I shape my bill. Next thing we're going to do is put it on your friend. I even forgot what I named my friend. I don't remember, but I don't know if you named yours or not. Now, these hats are adjustable in the back. Some of you got denim, some of you got pink, and some of you got blue, because that's all I had left. And I didn't want to order any more. Okay, so you should have 8 of these little T-post pins. If that's not enough for you and you need to use just regular pins, if you have hat pins or anything with a good head on it that it's not going to go through, you can use that. So I just kind of adjust it. I don't care if I can see her face or not. I want it so that I can paint. So I just bring it what's comfortable for me so that I have a good painting surface here. Let's bring you down just a little bit. Hi, Kathy. Okay, so I do kind of center it on the nose. Now, I don't want it like this because that's going to make it harder to paint. So I just bring it down about halfway across her eyes, and I just center this line here. Now, some hats that you get, like the trucker's hats, they're not going to have this line here. It'll be solid across there. Okay, so I get it just as it fell down a little bit. So I can see her mouth and her nose. Okay, so I'm going to put the first pin in, and I just want it kind of even on there, like you would have it on your head. And I'm going to put the first pin up here, in the top, just to kind of keep it steady a minute so it's not sliding around everywhere. And I'm just going to start sticking these pins in I typically start on the side here, hold it down, and get a pin right down there in the, as low as I can without going into the bill. And I push it in there. Okay, so there's my start. I've got one up here and one down here. And that's going to keep it in place over there. And now I'm going to pull it just as tight as I can get it over here. I'm pulling it down and I'm pulling it tight. I'm really putting that pin in there. Okay, so you've got a lot sticking out over here. Okay, so I've got one here. Now that I've got that one really tight over there, I'm going to take this one back out and tighten it up a little more. So I'm pulling down and back. And I'm going to put this one at the back this time. And pull it down there. Okay, that's got it pretty good and tight. And you may have to take it out and work with it. Once you kind of start pulling on it, it's just much, much easier to paint if you've got a tight, flat surface. Now, of course, it's round. It's not flat, but you know what I mean. You don't have a bunch of wrinkles to deal with. So I'm pulling this back to the back. And I usually have this down in my lap doing it. It's much easier. So I'm pulling it as tight as I can get it to the back. And I'm putting another pin in right there at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Pulling it down and back. Now this pin is kind of coming out. I need to go the other direction with it. Okay, so down and back. So just get it good and tight on there. And then I typically put a couple back here too, just to keep it taut. I've got something stuck on my fingernail that I don't want getting in the paint. All right. Okay, so it looks like everybody's on that's gonna be on. So I'm just pulling it back here to the back. And these holes that the pins are making, once you take them out, just rub your finger around the material and they'll go away. You won't even know they were there. But believe it or not, I used to do this because I didn't have these wig heads. I hadn't thought of that yet. I used to get a salad bowl that I had that was pretty close to the size of this hat, and I would tape it down as tight as I could get it, and it would always shift around. And I don't know how many hats I did that way before it finally dawned on me. Get a wig head and put them on there. That. Okay, now it's good and tight. It's not going anywhere. I've got a nice flat surface here. And it's going to be easy to paint. We're not going to paint anything on the back. This is a very simple pattern. Now you can get really detailed on them. You could get as detailed as this shirt is. We're not going to get this detailed. We're keeping this simple because so many of you have never painted on fabric before, and I didn't want you to stress out over a lot of details. But you can do realistic things on here. You can do, I've done leopard print. I've done all kinds of different flowers. I don't know. I've done a lot of stuff on them. Okay, so that took me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I had 7 pins that I used. You might need less, you might need more. I like the bigger size T-post pins. Now this little box that I got came with 2 different sizes. And either one will work, but I think the thicker ones, the taller ones, hold it a lot better in place. So I have both sizes here. These are thicker and they are a lot taller than the other ones, but either one will work. I just prefer the other ones, and I got those off of Amazon. And there were 150, so 75 of the small ones and 75 of the large ones in there. And I've done nearly 300 hats, so that's why I had so many that I did. And I needed a bunch of them. I finally got smart and started doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 wig heads, and I'll do 6 hats at a time. And I try to do like all sunflowers. And then I'll do all geraniums or all leopard print or whatever. Then I'll do them all at the same time. And that really helps. Much easier than a slick salad bowl. Okay, does everybody have their hats on? While you're doing that, if there's still a couple that's trying to get that on there, I wanted to tell you, we are going to just freehand this the pattern on here tonight, but you can certainly, and I have, you can take a pattern and use your graphite paper. On a denim hat, I would use probably white graphite paper, but you can trace a pattern on just like you do on your door hangers. Now, it is a little more difficult because of the round surface, but you just have to pin your pattern in place. And just like you would on the door hanger, you put your pattern down, pin it in place, and then slide your paper under it, your graphite paper under it, and trace your pattern on. So you can definitely do that also if you, if you have a pattern, well, I'd love to do that on a hat, but I don't know how to freehand that on there. Well, you can definitely get it to the right size and use that graphite paper to get your pattern on there. And graphite paper comes in all different colors. I've got it in gray, black, yellow, orange, blue, red, and I think I even have a purple one that came in a multi-pack that I got off of Amazon. Okay, so we've got our hats on. Everybody's hats nice and tight. So the next thing I do, and you want to have your toothbrush ready in case you get it on there and you go, oh, I don't like where that went. We're going to brush it off and we can start over. I've got a piece of white chalk. You could do it in any color that shows up. I just chose to do it in white because I thought you might could see it better that way. And this may be a little easier to do it with it up here. We don't need you, little iPad. We'll just see our comments this way. Look at that, Penny's Lane behind me. That's next month. Oh my goodness, I've got all the boxes put together and ready to ship out those kits. Okay, so I'm going right down the list and I am going to check off with a pencil once we get through everything. Let me grab a pencil so I don't miss any steps. Okay, and we have shaped the bill, pinned it on, and now we're going to put our little pattern on. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, and again, this is going to be so easy so that we don't get into a lot of detail, and then you can just go for it. After you do this one, you're going to know how to do it, and you can just do whatever you want. Okay, so I'm going to start right here. I want to make my circle. Now, I do try to avoid the little holes that are in them. I don't mind the seams so much. Get that one a little tighter. Sometimes you just cannot avoid those little seams depending on your pattern. So I'm gonna pull this down. It wasn't quite tight enough. So let's start with our circle for our flower, and we're gonna put the circle here, and then we're going to bring some petals down here, and then we're going to put a smaller little flower over here, and then we're going to do some things on the bill too. So I'm going to start, and we're just going to freehand a circle. If you have something you want to trace around, like the bottom of your paint or something like that, to make it a little more round for you, that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to eyeball it. I do know that I want a petal. I want this hole in between the petals. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to think if I want to do a half flower or if we want to do a whole one. Let's do a whole one. Okay, so we're just going to do a circle. Now that's just a guideline. We may go a little bit larger. So just a circle. And then the first 2 petals, I am going to go on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side of this little hole here that's in the hat. So we're gonna go, and we're just going to make like a half football. So watch me, and then you can do it, and then we'll go all the way around. You can make it as large or small as you want to. I'm making mine pretty big. So let's go. Oops, I went over just a little bit further than I wanted to. So I'm gonna take that toothbrush, a dry toothbrush, and I'm gonna come up here and start. So I'm gonna go a little bit higher over that seam. So there's what I've got. I went right on that side of the seam. I'm gonna get the rest of that off. Okay, and then I'm gonna come down, start up here at the top. I'm gonna come down all the way back to that circle and just come out like that. Okay, so start at the circle, come up, and then start at the tip and come down. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here on the other side of that hole. I'm going to come all the way up over that seam. Let's see, I may want to get that a little tighter. Let me see if I can grab another pin. That one's got a pretty big wrinkle in it. So you'll just kind of feel as you go if you need to smooth some out a little bit. So I'm going to smooth this one out. I'm going to pull it down all the way down here. There, and that pulled that out a little better. And then I'm just going to come around all the way down. So we're just making petals right now. This one kind of rounded out. I don't like that because I've got the other one pointed. So purposely, so I can show you how well that works with that toothbrush. And when you're completely finished, you can take that damp cloth and wipe it completely off. Okay, so we're just going to go all the way around the hat that way. Trying to make sure you can see this. There we go. And I'm going to come down just to the brim of that hat. And if yours comes down a little more, that's fine. And some of them will be, now, I do get mine a little more precise, but the way I'm having to show you, I may have some that are a lot bigger. It's going to look a lot bigger at the angle I've got it. This one's a lot fatter than these up here that I did. But as I'm painting, I can make these a little bit bigger. This is just to get your basic pattern on. Okay, so I've got that pin right there. So I may have to move the pin. I'm going to make my petal. And we're going to come down all the way down across that bill. And it's just running right off the hat. Okay, so I am going to move this pin. I'm going to move it. I'm going to put it on the inside here of the petal and pull it back just a little bit. And that should keep it plenty taut. Okay, and we should have, let's just do one more. And we'll come all the way down across the bill. So out, down, out, down. Okay, so there is your flower. Now, if you don't want to come all the way to the bill, let's make it a little skinnier down here, and we'll have it come to the point on the bill. Okay, and again, once you've finished, you look at it and you've got chalk there you don't want, just take that damp cloth. if it didn't come all the way off, and just wipe it off and you'll be fine. Now my center is going to end up being a little bit larger than that. That was just a guideline. Okay, now let's come over here to the bill on the opposite side. If you're looking at your hat, it's going to be on your left. And you'll get to where, okay, I want this one on the right. Let's put this one here. You'll get so used to it that you'll just put them wherever you want to. Terry says, hello from Florida. Hello, Miss Pam Wald. Hi, Charlie. Okay, so I'm going to put a smaller one over here. Now, I could do it half and just coming halfway on the bill. We could do that. So let's do that. We're going to do a half center. Just like that. Or you could put your center here and make it have the petals all the way around like we did the other one. But let's just make it, so I'm going to make this petal is going to come off of the hat. Okay, but you can do it any way that you want to. So I'm going to come up. And it'll go underneath that bill. And then I'm going to come up and off the hat. Okay, so now we've got one on the side and one on the bill. And then we're going to come and do some fill-ins here, and we'll do a leaf or something down there. Okay, so for now, let's go ahead and get our flowers base coated. And then, well, let's see if we want to do a leaf. We do want to do a little leaf on this one. So I'm going to come out here with just a little extra, and we're going to make that one a leaf. So we'll come back with that. And then here, I want a leaf coming down over the bill. Just to give us some green. Okay, so we've got a leaf here and a leaf here. Okay, you ready to start with some paint? Are you ready? Are you ready? Hi, Wendy. Okay, so the first color we're going to start with. Now, I know some of you are using regular acrylic paint and mixing fabric medium with it, and some of you are using some of you are using regular acrylic and mixing the fabric medium in it, and it's 2 parts paint to 1 part fabric medium. And I do just like I do my recipes when I'm cooking food. I just eyeball it. I don't measure completely. You keep wanting to hit pause. All right, tell me if I'm going too fast. I can slow down. I'll give everybody time to get, and your pattern does not have to look exactly like this. You just get you a couple of flowers on there and you will be fine. Okay, so I'll slow down. But while you're, those of you that are finished, if you're using fabric paint, you're not going to have to mix anything. But if you're using acrylic, the next color we're going to use is white. So I'm going to be using, this one is tulip white, tulip fabric paint. So I'm not going to have to mix it. But if you do have to mix, I've got this little waffle or honeycomb thing that I use that I mix it in. I've also got the silicone ice trays that I mix it in. So whatever you have that you can mix it in, and you're going to put 2 squirts of paint and 1 squirt of the fabric medium, and just stir it up with the end of your paintbrush. Just put it in there and stir it up until, well, with the white it's hard because they're both white, but just stir it up till it's not milky looking, and just get it really good and stirred, and then wipe that handle off. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get that done. And I know a lot of you will be just watching and then going back into paint when you're watching the replays. And that's great to do it like this too, that way too. That way you can kind of do it at your own pace, and you'll have time tonight to do that. You'll have all day tomorrow if you're not working to do that. That'll give you time to catch up. Now, there's a lot of details that you can add to this when we're finished that we won't put on here because I am trying to keep it simple. But there's just a lot of different things that you can do to it as well. You've seen all the different ones I've done. I've done paint palettes, and then I've done paint brushes with paint dripping off. And there's just so many fun things that you can do. You can make them look like little children's hats. Just a lot of different things. You can put music notes on them if you want, like a band. If you have somebody in band, you can put musical notes or musical instrument or anything like that on there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the white. And I've just got a little styrofoam. Looks like a meat tray. I get them at Dollar Tree. If I can get this open. The last time I did this, I squirted it everywhere. I remember that now. Let me get a rag around it just in case, because it's hard to open. Yeah, I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to pour it out. So I'm just going to undo the lid. I don't know why that one is so hard to open. It's not stuck on anything. But I'll work on that. And I do want to warn you that each paint brand is different. Oh my goodness. I'm laughing because it just squirted everywhere. But luckily, not in my face. That has happened while I was live. So I'm just going to grab a baby wipe and clean this bottle off a little bit. Oh, well, no wonder. Okay, it still had the white thing on it. It had come out of the lid and was on that. No wonder it wouldn't open. I am just going to take that little dude right out of there, because this is not a new one. I've used it several times, but that little piece fell out of the lid. So we've got plenty of white out right now. Now it opens right up. So I'm going to clean that off before I make a mess everywhere. And luckily it didn't go on the hat or anything, so good. But I've just got lots of white paint here. Okay, so I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch angle brush that's in your kit. We'll start with that. If we need to go a little smaller, we can. And I'm going to base everything, even the leaves and the centers, we're going to base coat them in white. If you feel like you need to go down with a little bit smaller brush, we can go down to the 1/4 inch. Let's just do that, because I think some of you may be more comfortable with that. We'll go down to the 1/4 inch brush, and we're just going to start. First coat's always the hardest. So you're just going to go around that circle. Now this is a sunflower, so I'm going to make the circle a little bit bigger. The center of the flower. I'm going to go outside of that line that I did and make it a little larger. And you can make it even larger when you're putting the pattern on if you want to. So I'm going about a 1/2 inch or a little more. And I'm really working it down into the fabric. Now you're not going to get full coverage the first time, so don't try to get it all covered the first time. You'll have to let it dry really well in between coats. Okay, let me see if I want that. I think I want it just a little bit larger. That looks really large on screen, but it's not compared to the petals. Okay, so I'm going to bump it up a little bit more, about the width of the brush. Reloading here. These brushes are the Talcon bristles, and they work really well for this. After you've used them a couple of times, they stiffen up just enough that they work really well on the fabric. Now I'm kind of having to do this sideways and just kind of side eye it so that you can see what I'm doing, so don't judge me if it's not real straight. So I'm just kind of smoothing out there. Okay, I like that better. Much bigger. Okay, so now let's go ahead and fill in the petals, especially the petals because they're going to be yellow, and you know how hard it is to get yellow to cover. Now this little bitty petal here, I'm going to make it a little bit larger. I'm going to start a little bit above where my chalk line is. And again, those chalk lines are just guidelines for you. And I'm going to bring it out a little bit and make it a little bit fatter on this side over here because he's a little bit skinnier than the others. And I'm going to work it down into that seam. And then just fill it in. Now I'm just going to leave one coat of white on the center because we're going to go over it in black. But I'm going to let it dry and put a second coat on these petals. So that's what we're doing all the way around. We're just going to fill in the petals, base coat with that white, and I'm going to go up a little further, come around, now if you have a paint brand, some of the fabric paints when you're using them are very stringy like cheese. When you take your brush and put paint on it, it may have a string on it of paint all the way over to your fabric. So what you want to do is make sure, now this white that I'm using is not stringy, but some of the colors I will be using are. I just pull it up and then twirl it around to break that string so that I don't string paint across my hat. Or whatever I'm painting, apron or whatever it is. Okay, I'm trying to see where this went. But if that happens to you, then you can just put a vine or something like that to cover it. So right now it looks like I got a bunny rabbit. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and do this one. And see how much paint is on my brush. So I don't use these brushes for my door hangers and stuff like that. They're just, by the time I paint 50 hats with them, they're just, don't have their shape real well for that. Now they're great for this. Okay, so we're working that paint in. Okay, see how it's already fading in up here? And you can really see that hat through it. So that's why we're gonna need a second coat on them so that that yellow will show up. I'm gonna lay this down So I can do this petal over here, working it into that seam. And I'm going right up underneath that, the hat, where the hat and the bill meet. I'm kind of pulling it down and going right up in there. Hi, Rissa. Okay, going right down to that ridge. Smoothing it out a little bit. And I'm going to let this be drying while we're doing our other petals in the flower, but then I will definitely dry it with the dryer just to make sure it's good and dry, because it doesn't do well at all if you're trying to put the wet paint on wet paint. So I'm smoothing out that edge. Okay, now I've got this petal here. And I had come off of the bill here, so we need to put a little bit right there so it looks like part of that petal. And that's optional. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Okay, so we got one right here. See how messy it looks? It looks terrible at first. But once you get a good base coat on, it's a whole lot easier to do the other layers. Now on the bill, you've got the stitching here, and I just go back and forth just to kind of get it on both sides of that stitching. Go underneath where the bill and the hat meet. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn it a second so I can see what I'm doing here. Has everybody been excited about doing this, or have you been nervous? I was so nervous the first time I tried to paint on fabric. I thought, if I mess it up, that's just it. It's done. And then once I did it, I was hooked. I thought, you know, it's just fabric. I can get another jacket, or but I tried on something old first. Okay, and I've got this leaf a little bit skinny, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger with the paint. See this little leaf right here? I want it to be a little bit broader. So I'm going to come right up in between those two petals, and we'll shade and everything, and you'll be able to tell the difference where the leaf is and where the petal is. So I'm going to come out a little bit larger. Right now it just looks like an odd petal there, but it will be a leaf. Okay, so I've got that first one, the first first one's on there. I'm going to put a little bit more under there. Okay, while those are drying a little bit, let's go down here and do our small one. These caps came from Temu. I got them years ago at Temu. I ordered like 300 and something, and then I ordered 100 more. But Walmart sells caps. They have the trucker style cap. Hobby Lobby has some hats, different kinds, but these came from Temu. Okay, so we're gonna go, I'm gonna do the center first and make it a little bit larger. And I don't remember how much they were at the time. Okay, so there's the center, just like we did the big flower. And then we're going to come up here with the petals. We'll just right off that bill. Next one is the leaf. I'm doing it just a little bit different shape, and I'm going to make it a little bit larger. And only one coat. I just need one coat of the white on it because we'll go over it with that Hauser dark green. Okay, so we'll come up underneath the bill on this one. Now that's just up to you. You could make it come on up to the top if you wanted to. You'll learn what works best for you. One hat will be one way, and the next hat will have a little bit, it'll be the same pattern, but just hit the hat a little bit differently. So every one of them is a little bit different, has their own personality, even though you're doing the same flower and basically the same pattern. One of my prettiest hats I ever did was an accident. I made a big mistake on it and had to do something to fix it. And the fix that I did turned out to be way prettier than what I had intended for it to be. And it was a great seller and was just one of the prettiest ones that I'd ever done. Okay, so I'm going to wash my brush out a little bit and dry it. Paintbrushes I got at Walmart, and they are the, I don't think I have the package over here, but y'all have the package in your kit. The ones that paid for the tutorials, they got a package of the brushes in their kits. But I also have ordered them on Amazon. They're a little bit hard to find. They run out of them. But I like them. The bristles are Taklon bristles, and they're Royal Lang & Nickel, or Royal Lang Nickel. Okay, so I'm going to get it really good and dry. Okay, and I want to show you something. I let my brush, see where it touched the top of the cap right here? And that leaf goes under it. I'll just take some like navy blue and water it down a little bit. I don't want to try to wipe it because it's going to smear it. And I'll just, or I can bring the, let's do that. Let's just bring the tip of it up a little bit. So that's an oops. But you could either put a little bit of blue denim paint over it, or just go ahead and bring your petal up over that and just paint that. So let's do that. And I'm wiping my brush out. I do have the bristles a little damp, but I'm wiping them out. I mean, I'm wiping it on my cloth over here because I don't want a lot of water in it. So I'm going to come up and over. Okay, and let's dry that. We'll get it all really dry, and then we will put a second coat on. I'm going to take a round brush and fix that just a little bit because it didn't go all the way underneath there. And I want it to look like it's continuous. Okay. Now I may use a round brush on something and you prefer to use a flat brush or an oval filbert, or you know, whatever you're comfortable using. I'm just using what I'm used to using, what I've used for so long. And I switch back and forth a lot. Okay, we're going to put one more coat of that white. Now this coat will go on a lot better, a lot faster. Okay, is there anybody that's painting with me, or is everybody just watching? Hi, Miss Vicky. You have one of my first hats, Charlie. Yes, you do. You sure do. Accidents can be blessings in creative space. Yes, definitely. Hi, Sheila. All right, if I missed some of you, I'm sorry in the comments. Okay, so I'm just going to go back over real quickly and go back over those petals. Since they're going to be yellow, I'm going to go over them with one more coat. Your project is only going to be as good as your base coat. You need a good base coat to make everything else go smoothly. Okay, and I want to make sure I get kind of down in that circle. Now we could have come a little fatter with this petal, or I could have. Yours may not be a problem. But that little hole gets in the way there. And we'll come right over those petals with that black here just a little bit. And you'll see as you paint why you wanted the fabric to be tight. Okay, Renee's observing first. She did trace her flower on the hat. Great. Okay, good. Charlie's watching. We're going to post pictures Saturday, or when everybody finishes, as you finish. I want you to post pictures on here. And some may be doing a different flower. I did this same pattern, or close to it, but I did purple flowers instead of a sunflower. Charlie, we're having the Penny's Lane workshop May the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. That's online. And then, but the one I was thinking about was the one we're having in August or July. I'll have to look. I think it's August. In person. And it's going to be at that same restaurant where you came last time and painted with us, at the Mariachis in Sherman. It'll be on a Saturday, and I'll announce it closer to time. But we're going to be doing Mrs. Claus to go with the Mr. Claus that y'all did. We have so much fun in person. And their food is so good. If you like Mexican food, and I think they have other things also. They have American food too if you don't care for Mexican food. But I think everybody ordered Mexican food. They've got a really good reputation in our little town for their food. Okay, so I'm getting underneath that cap where the brim is, where they meet. And all the way up into the center. And if your petals touch, that's great. It doesn't matter. We're going to do some shading on them. Once we get all the yellow on there, we'll do some shading and that'll separate them. Okay, and mine went off of the bill down here, so I've got that little extra spot. Okay, so we've got a big petal here, and then the leaf that's there. See how much easier that second coat goes on, and the third coat goes on even nicer. And I haven't had to put any more paint out yet because of all that squirted out. And you may have to stop and wash your brush out a little bit if you just get too much in there collected, because it does get up in the ferrule on this. I'm kind of cleaning mine out a little bit right now. We've got Vacation Bible School coming up in June, and we've been trying to get everything ready for that. I'm in charge of the craft room this year. We have Bible lesson room, and we have craft room. The crafts always go with the lesson, something to help them to remember it by. So I'm in charge of the craft room this year, so I have been trying to get everything ready and ordered. So I've been seeing a lot of my Amazon men. Okay, so I was just smoothing out a little ridge that I had there. And remember, these leaves are going to be, we're going to start out with dark Hauser on them, so they don't have to have as much on them as the yellow underneath. I need the underneath like we do the yellow. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and do, I'm going to need some more paint now. Yes, I can't wait for Miss Santa Workshop and getting my paint ready for Penny's Lane. All right. Well, I hope by Penny's Lane to be comfortable using my canvas light phone holder, and I hope it really makes a difference in your view and how we can put it overhead and to the side. But I didn't want to start it tonight. I wanted to be really comfortable with it before I started using it on my lives. I'll have to have some practice runs. I've been wanting to get one of those for a long time, but I just didn't want to spend the money. Take it out of my profits. I'm not a cheapskate. I try to be wise with and not overspend and think I have to have every little thing that comes along. But in my smaller space now, I just thought it would make it a lot easier to get to angles that I needed. Hopefully it will make it better for you. Okay, and one more. We'll dry it good, and then we'll go in with the yellow. So the next color we're going to use is cadmium yellow or primary yellow, either one. There's not a lot of difference in them. In fact, I think I'm using the primary because I have more of it, but basically they're almost the same. So either one that you have, or if you're doing yours in a different color, whatever petal color you're going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to clean that white out of the brush. I'll let it sit in there for just a minute, and let's get it good and dry. I am a little frugal. I try to be. Because if I buy everything, then at the end of the year, I'm not going to have any profit. All right, so it does take a little bit to dry it. It is fabric. And I think I don't like this little petal right here. I think it's too short. So I'm going to try to make it come all the way down. Okay, I'll dry it and put another coat on it. I think that is going to help. It just looked a little wompy there. We were coming home from church last night when the storms were so bad. Oh, the wind was blowing so hard, and it was raining so hard you couldn't even see the road. And there had been a wreck with just everybody leaving from church. Anyway, there had been a wreck on the highway on our way home, and the car, I'm sure it hydroplaned, but it was upside down, and they were trying to get the people out of it, and it was just, oh, your stomach just, you know, sank. You know, there was no way they got out of that without being hurt. And it was just pouring rain, and all the emergency workers trying to work with that. Okay, so I am working on bringing this petal down. So I'm putting a couple more coats on it. These are pretty with Hawaiian flowers on them too. Okay, it's looking a little cleaner, but still looks yuck. You know, it's got to get worse before it gets better. But we're going on with the yellow next. You want to make sure that it is good and dry. I'm using a Ranger heated craft tool. I've had it for I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, and I really like it. It gets hot. You don't want to dry your hair with it. And if you think you're seeing too much of your hat color through there, you can run over with another coat real quick. I think it's going to be fine, but just to be safe, I'm going to put a quick little thin third coat over it. Now, if you're using the paint and regular paint with fabric medium, you may need to mix some more paint by now if you're running out. Okay, so I'm just putting a really quick third coat on here. It's just going to make that yellow pop better. In some spots, you may need to get like a round brush or a little bitty, a much smaller brush to get up in some of the crevices so that you don't get it outside the line that you're wanting it to go on. So again, I'm just putting a quick third coat on here. And sometimes on the petal, if I think I'm going to have a hard time seeing where the petal and the leaf meet or whatever, I will leave a little ridge. You know, when we're painting on our door hangers, we say, oh, we don't want those ridges. Sometimes those ridges are okay. Okay, I'm fine with the leaf. I don't need any more on it. And one more petal. Okay, let's get it dry and get our yellow out. Okay, how y'all doing? Is there anybody at all painting? I kind of figured most would watch the replays and paint. But we're going to fill in this little space in here too once we get our flowers done. That will be tomorrow though. It doesn't take real long to dry it, but you just definitely want to make sure it's good and dry before you put another coat on. The drier you get it, the easier it goes on. Let's see. Patty's painting. Yay, Karen's painting. Great. Am I going too fast? Linda's painting. But slowly, that's great. Take your time. Because once you see me do one or two, then you know what the process is. And you can finish it up. So I don't want you to feel rushed. I do think I'm going to bring these two petals together now that I'm looking at them. So I'm going to make this one a little fatter. And the other one a little fatter. Okay, we'll dry that. So I'm just making these two petals meet. There was a pretty big space between them. Okay, let's come in with our yellow, and I am going to have to mix some up because I didn't have the yellow I wanted in fabric paint. That is one thing with fabric paint, that they don't have near the color choices that you would have with deco or folk art or something like that. So I'm going to come in with about how much I think I'm going to need. 2 good squirts. So 2 parts paint and 1 part fabric medium. And again, I just kind of eyeball it. And then I'm going to take the handle of one of my brushes. See if I can get you down here. See how milky it is? I want to mix that until all I see is the yellow. I want that milkiness to be gone. I want that fabric medium to really be mixed in there with it. Okay, now it's all yellow. No white at all. Work the handle off good. Okay, so I got the white out of my brush. And let's come in with the yellow. Okay, we'll start up here on this one. Get you back up here. And it's okay that we come down into that circle. Again, we're going to go over that with black. I just want to make sure I get it covered down to where the black's going to be coming from that center. Look how pretty that shows up with that white under it. So just what you did with the white, you're going to go around each petal. Just be sure and don't paint your leaf where you had your leaves going. And I just got my arm in that a little bit, and I got a little bit of yellow on that right at the top of the hat. But I'm going to leave it, and once everything's dry, I'll go over it with a little bit of blue. And we did such a good job with the white undercoat. That one coat may look great, but I'm going to put 2. I wanted to do a good tutorial on painting a hat, and I did one a while back, but I didn't send out kits or anything like that. But it is hard to hold it at the right angle so you can see it when you've just got an arc on. But I'm hoping that that canvas phone holder will make that a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to do this large one down here. Underneath that cap and the bill where they meet. And with each hat that you do, it'll get easier and easier. And once you've done a hat like this, you can definitely do blue jean jackets, shirts, aprons. Now, every different kind of fabric will have a little bit different feel to it. I try to steer away from anything that's going to have fuzz that's going to get up in your brush and paint when you're trying to paint. Okay, so just going around and around just like we did. This is my leaf. I don't want to do it yellow. All the way down to the bill. Makes it so much easier because we've got that base coat under there. Not only because it goes on smoother, but you know where it goes now. You don't have to try to guess where the petal's going. You've already got it on there. And if you came on late Saturday, we will have a drawing. Somebody will win a new set of the Dippin' Dotties that will come out in June. We'll release those in June. We'll have a sale on those. And I've put all of your names in the spin the wheel of names. And somebody will win a free set. And we'll do that drawing Saturday. We'll start at noon on Saturday. Tomorrow will be the same time that we did tonight, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Saturday we'll start at noon. And it may not take us very long Saturday. And even if we're finished, if we were to somehow finish up by Friday, then we will do some practice shading or some things like that. Okay, but a little bit of white showing here. All right, we're going to let that one be drying. And come down here on the bottom one. Great thing about these silicone paint holders, I can just put my lid on it tonight and it'll still be good and wet tomorrow. Because we will be using this yellow again, more than likely, on something else that we're going to put on it. So remember where those stitches are, go back and forth so you get both sides of the stitching. Okay, let's dry our yellow and come back around with a second coat on it. Hi, Miss Peggy. I have been missing you too. Hope you're doing okay. And again, others that are on here, several of the ladies on here purchased the kit to do this. So they got the hats, the brushes, the chalk. What else did y'all get? Oh, the wig head. They got a wig head, package of the brushes, the chalk, the pins, and each of them got a little extra something in their box. A little Happy Mail. Can't do that every time, but it's nice when I can. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. Still not looking great, but it's getting there. Okay, I think that's dry enough for a second coat. Now your paint's going to be a little bit thinner once you put that fabric medium in it. Shake it up at the top. These silicone ice trays that you can put a lid on. Tamara Bennett sells those in her workshop, on her website, shopdoorhangers.com. She sells those, and that's where I got mine. It was from her actually at a paint event. She gave us all one in our swag bags. Okay, next thing we're going to do is do some shading on these petals with the deep ochre, or whatever color you chose to shade yours in. And again, each coat goes on so much easier. Make sure I got that covered. Okay, and let's come down and put the second coat on these. So what's everybody painting right now? Are you already painting Christmas, fall, everything? I've been painting a lot of Christmas. Well, not a lot. I've been really under the weather this past week, but went to the doctor, got some meds, and trying to be on the mend. Okay, so I think that's all the yellow it's going to take. So we had 2 coats of the yellow. Have we not put the, trying to see where that looks. The white underneath it, we will be doing like 5 or 6 coats of this yellow. So I'm going to wash that yellow out. Now when I'm shading on fabric, I don't mind using my good brushes to just shade with. But I have some here that I think will be fine out of this other package that you got. Just going to use one of the little angle brushes. Okay, so I'm going to get some of that deep ochre. It's not going to take a lot of it. So I'm just going to come over here and about one good squirt. And a little bit of fabric medium in it. Mix it up until it's not milky looking. And you can mix it up on your, if you're using a plate or a tray or something, you can mix it up there too. Okay, so I've got a 1/4 inch, a little bitty bristle sticking out. Let me cut that one. It's gonna get in the way, I can already tell. It's gonna be a troublemaker. Come on. It's like threading a needle. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to get it wet. And I'm going to get a little bit of this paint out. And just put it on my tray. I'm going to put my lid over that so it doesn't dry out, because I may need some more. Okay, and I'm going to take just a little bit of water, not much, and just get it a little bit wet on the edges where I'm going to be shading. And I'm going to dip just the tip of my brush in that paint. And then I'm going to blend it a little bit on that plate. And then we're going to start right down here at the bottom. Remember, it'll dry darker. So I'm going to go in with a little more paint. You could also, if this isn't dark enough for you, you could go with brown if you want to use your chocolate brown or honey brown. Just depends on what you're wanting. So I'm just going back in and getting some on the tip of my brush and let it dry. Oh, you're working on the Flamingo Tamara Spring Workshop. I know. She's had a lot of workshops going. That girl's like the Energizer Bunny. Okay, now you want to decide if you've got the petals that are touching, you want to decide which one's going to overlap. So I usually will make this one be the overlap on this one. So I'm going to skip one and make this one overlap the one will be in the middle. So I'm going to skip that one and start on the next one and make it come over that petal. And I'm not shading completely like I would on wood. I'm just kind of painting it on there. The fabric kind of helps you just get a shade effect because of the texture Okay, so it's coming, this is the overleaf, so it's going to come over this one. So adding a little more water. Making it come over ever so slightly. And I don't know if you can even see this color on camera. Okay, now this is the behind petal. So I've still got a little bit of water in my brush, and I'm just going to come right up here where they meet. I've got it going over, so I'm going to come right up here at the top where they meet. So it still looks like that leaf is over the other one, or that petal. Okay, and then I do the other side. Right up here where they meet. Okay, and I need to get some more paint. And I could just dip it straight into this, but it's just easier having it out on the tray. Now it shows up really good here in person, but on camera, I'm not sure if it is. I think you can see it. Okay, so this is the under one. So right up where they meet. Got it right on that edge, the toe of the angle brush. It's going to go right over that leaf. And if you've got any white showing, just go right over it with your shading color. And that'll clean that up. Okay, we're going to come up here. Next is this big one down here. And we're just going around each petal. To set the petals apart. And then we're going to dry that. Okay, let's do these down here. Just barely putting some water on there. And again, it dries darker, so there is more contrast. Once it dries, but if it's still not dark enough for you, you can go over it once it dries. I feel like I'm painting from behind. Well, I am. Okay, and I'm coming down into that circle. Because we're going to go over it with black. Okay, we're going to dry that real well. And then I'm going to show you, this is a step I don't think I put on your pattern or your instructions. And it's optional. You can or do not have to do it, but I'm just going to show you what I do a lot of times on mine. Hi, Susie. But it has to be very dry. So you want to make sure it's really, really dry. Really, really dry. I'm loving it getting dark a lot later now. I feel like you have a full day. I don't like leaving of the morning, like on Tuesdays when we go keep Jack and Ellie. Leaving on of the morning and it's dark and still dark when you get home. And I see I missed this part of the petal here. There we go. These make great gifts if you know people that wear hats. I mean, you can just customize them to fit anybody's hobby, style. I like just splatter painting on them. They're pretty that way too. Okay, so I've still got a little bit of white paint out. So what I do a lot of times, and again, this is just an option for you, but I'll take a scruffy brush or makeup brush. This is an eye makeup brush. You could also use a stenciling brush, just whatever you've got around. And put a little bit of white. I'm not even going to get any water on it. And I'm just going to dab it in my paint. Get it down in those bristles good. Okay, and then I'm going to wipe most of it off. So work it down in with that paper towel. And just gently go down the center with them. Just rub a little bit of white in there. And you can see the difference in those two petals and the other one. So it just gives it a little highlight. Okay, let's do the same thing with the big ones. And it doesn't take much. Just adds another little layer to it. Again, I'm getting most of it off. And I'm just going right down in the centers of the petals. Just kind of a swirling motion and then straight up and down. Just depends on what you're doing. White tends to fade on you, so you may have to go back over it a little bit. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of a highlight in the center. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and do, I like to use black last when I'm painting. So this will be the last step for tonight. Well, we may do our little center line. Well, let's go ahead and do that first, since I've still got some of that deep ochre or brown, whatever you're using. And you'll want to do it with a liner brush or a round brush. I have a little round brush that I'm going to use. I don't remember if your packets had round ones in them or not. I think they do, but I'm just using the smallest round. I'm going to dip down in that deep ochre. And I'm going to make some little, what I call petal wrinkle lines. And I'm going to start in the center and just flick it up and out, up and out. A long one in the center and two short ones on the side. Now you can do a bunch of little short ones, however you want to do it. So I'm just all the way up, reloading, and just kind of out to the side. I'm curving it out to the side. And then we'll go over it with our black center. So let's do these up here. So I'm going to come all the way, start in the center, all the way up, off to the left and off to the right. All the way up, off to the left and to the right, or to the right and to the left, whichever you start first. The one in the center is longer. And I'm curving them out. But I'm getting down far enough that that black center is going to come over them. So down. And out, and out. Curve out and curve out. Okay, let's dry those real quick. And then we'll do our black. My black is fabric paint, so I won't be putting any fabric medium in it. Now I may add a few steps on here that's not on your handout that you got in your kits. For instance, I don't remember if this is on your kit or not, but you can take your white and make some little, up at the tip, go down, start there and go down, and make a little highlight on each petal. I'm just making a highlight line on each petal, starting at the center and going down. And we'll do this one. kind of curving it like the petal is. And let's do our little short ones down here. Little details like that really add to it and will make yours stand out. Okay, so we've just got some little highlights and I almost went off right here, but it's okay. We're not going to sweat over it. Okay, let's do our black right quick. Now, black is one of the ones that is really stringy, and you have to be careful with it. Very stringy. See how it went across the plate there? So when I'm using black, I like to use it last if I can, because it does get your water so dirty, and your brush. Okay, I want you to see this. Look how, I don't know if I can show you or not, how stringy it is. So you have to just kind of make it let go, because you don't want that stringing across whatever you're painting. Okay, so let's start down here. Make sure you get all that white covered up. Okay, look how it changed that flower just instantly. And then we're going to do some things around that too. Okay, so let's go around and break that string off. Now you would think black would cover in one coat, but not always. Just depends what you're painting, what type of surface you're painting, and what your undercolor is. Okay, let's dry those and put one more coat on them. Sure changes the look of it, doesn't it? Starting to clean it up. Once we get our leaves and our ladybugs on there, it's really gonna look nice. Okay, we may have time to do the brown in the center. Okay, so I'm going to wash that brush out good. Let it sit there a second while we're drying this. Let's go ahead and take your dark chocolate or whatever brown you're using, burnt umber. Dark chocolate's on your list. I'm using fabric paint, and it's called Ganchi? I don't know, but it's brown. Make sure it's good and dry. You don't want to get it too white. You don't want to bubble it up. Okay, let's take that brown and the same brush that you just used, just clean it out. And my brown is fabric paint, and it's very, very stringy. I don't know if you could see that, but it does not want to let go. And so you just have to break it off. And let's take the same brush that we just used. And it's okay if it's still got a little bit of black in it. Get as much of it as you can out. And then I always wash mine with soap when every time I finish a project. Okay, so we're going to go around it with the brown. And I'm just going to get it on the tip. Just on that toe. See how it's stringy? I'm going to make it break. Just like cheese. And I'm going to dab a little bit of it off on my plate. And then just on the inside, around the perimeter, we're just going to pounce some of that brown. Okay, I'm going to dip back in, break that stringiness, pounce a little bit on the plate. And about the width of the brush is all you need. You can even go with a little bit lighter brown if you want to. Even put some in the center. I like it more just around the edges. Not crazy about it in the center. I believe this is stringier than the black paint. Okay, so we want to do the same thing on this one up here, just on the inside. Let me go over this one just a little bit more. And I'm just pouncing. Makes it look kind of like seeds. Oops, I got off there. Okay, and again, I'm not too crazy about the brown in the center. Super easy fix. I'm just going to get some of that black back on my brush. And just pounce right over it. My neighbors are waving at me through the door. Okay, now then, gone like it never even happened. Okay, so tomorrow we will put some, a few more things around the center to liven it up a little bit. We're going to do some, we'll do the leaves, and then we're going to do some grass and flowers and a couple of ladybugs. And we will finish it off Saturday. So that is it for tonight. Thank you so very much for being on here. If you have any questions, those of you that are in the Hats Off to Creativity kit club, not kit club, but if you received your kits, the ones that paid, you can email me any questions that you have or send me a message in Messenger. If you have any, oh no, you're not behind, Lisa. I'm limited to a couple of hours. Facebook doesn't like for you to go over 2 hours, so I just kind of have to keep going. But that's the beauty of being able to go back and rewatch the video several times. You can pause it and stop and do what you need to do and not be rushed at all. So don't feel like you're behind at all. I have done over 300 of these hats. So, and that's not counting the jackets and the aprons. So I've been painting on fabric for a while. I just kind of do it without thinking about it now. So I did slow it way down because usually when I'm in here I'm doing 6 at a time. 2, 4, 5, yeah, 6 at a time. And I'm just going right down a row. But hey, that kind of matched my shirt. But anyway, so if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to email me or send me a message. If you had any questions about what you're doing, let me know, and I will be happy to answer those for you. But I hope that this motivates you to get started on yours. It's not as hard as you think. Are you going to make some boo-boos and maybe have to paint something you weren't expecting to paint on here to cover that little thing up? Yes, I'm going to get some blue out here in just a minute and kind of touch that up. And it's not going to be the exact same color of blue, but I'm going to match it as best I can and try to get that cleaned up just a little bit. But there you go. So you are, by the time we meet tomorrow at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, you will have that much of yours done. And we will start again fresh at 6 o'clock. I do want to remind you at the end of each one of these that the Penny's Lane Workshop is going to be May the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, same times, 6 to 8, 6 to 8, and then noon on that Saturday. And you're saying, what is Penny's Lane? Penny's Lane Workshop. This is the Penny's Lane Workshop. Penny's Lane. Mine says Grammy's house, half a mile. Yours can say anything you want to put on it. It's in a 3D frame. It's a nice piece of wood and just so easy. It's 11 by 14, so it's really a good size. It's not huge and it's not small, but it's going to have a lot of little details on it. It'll be much easier to see than this hat is trying to do it. But and I will have my canvas lamp up by then, so hopefully I can get you some better angles. But this is so sweet. You'll learn how to do this background. It's what I call a slip slap background and lots of little details on this. So that one is only $40. There's not quite as many things in the kit as was in this Hats Off to Creativity workshop. So it is a little bit cheaper than what this one was, and it will be on a private page. It will not be on my public page here. It's in a private group. I've already got several that have signed up and paid for that, and they're already in the group and chatting amongst each other, and that's where I'll be sending information there, posting it, and then they'll be put in a special email group just like you were for the Hats Off to Creativity. So that's going to be a fun workshop, and I am taking emails now. If you want to register for that one, you just need to email me at youngheartcreations@icloud.com and let me know you want to be added to that one. But, okay, I hope you learned something tonight. I hope you are a little more comfortable and think, okay, I can do that. Just make sure you get a good base coat. Don't get the hat wet. If you get it wet, you're going to have to get another hat. That's all I can say about it. You can wipe it off with a damp cloth once it's dry, and I'll show you how to seal it on Saturday. We'll do all of that. But I enjoyed it. We got a lot done tonight, so I know that you can get this done tonight and tomorrow before 6. But please don't worry about it if you're not keeping up. That's not what this is about. Don't think you have to keep up with me. That's what the replays are for, so you can go back at your own pace and do it. I enjoyed it so much. To be honest with you, I was incredibly nervous. Before I started, I thought, okay, I want to make sure that they can see it. I want to make sure that that I get it at the right angle. and my voice was going away. And anyway, so but I was nervous, but I'm calmed down now. So anytime if I'm going too fast, just let me know. If you have a question in here, comment about it during the live. That's what I want to do. I want to teach you. I want you to learn. I want you to not hesitate to ask. Say, whoa, 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 wait a minute. What'd you say? What'd you do? What was that brush? So don't hesitate to ask me. All right, ladies, thanks so, so much. Have a great night and tomorrow, and I'll see you again tomorrow at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Bye-bye.